Madam Chair, and thanks to all of you for joining us. Mr. Malloy, first of all, thank you in particular for all you do in my state and for acknowledging what Utah has to offer in terms of our country's energy potential. As you and I both know, operating in a state like Utah that has a lot of federal land can be challenging. The federal government owns about 30% of the land mass in the United States and about 2/3 of the land in my own state. And as you and I are both painfully aware, energy development has not occurred at the same pace in recent years on federal land, particularly onshore development has not occurred at the same pace. And in fact, it has been really slow. It has slowed. So even though we've seen a big increase in recent years in natural gas production, we have not seen that on federal land. Now, whether this drop, whether this slowing has occurred as a result of permitting delays, uncertainty caused by the regulatory environment, or the difficulty, often the regulatory difficulty of building a pipeline, the results are clear, which is that there has been a drop in production on federal land. Can you explain for us in what ways have federal policies adversely impacted the ability of states like Utah with high concentrations of federal land to fully enjoy economic growth and jobs that have been precipitated by this boom?
Thank you, Senator DeLee. I would offer two ideas that we are actually actively working on with the government. The first of which is modernizing the permitting process, using technology such as GIS that would significantly reduce the boots on the ground type requirements and the cost of actually doing the permitting process, not only for the operator, but for the federal government. The second would be, and you're very aware of this, is the process, modernizing the process or streamlining the process to achieve EIS on critical projects like what you and I did for the natural buttes in Utah. I think this is an opportunity where we can utilize parallel processes, good modern project management practices to actually do these things on parallel paths and close the timeline that's been continuing to extend up now in excess of 10 years. This process should take 3 or 4 years tops. And I think that would incentivize people to move and invest in federal lands at a greater pace.
Thank you. Thank you. That's helpful. Ms. Furchtgott-Roth, I also wanted to ask you a question. So a lot of people, including a lot of people within the current administration, have become fond of saying that they promote an all-of-the-above energy strategy. Mm-hmm. And they're saying that at the same time that they, are encouraging more use of natural gas domestically, and at the same time that some are advocating that we also open up natural gas to export. But is this really an all-of-the-above energy strategy when we complicate the process of developing our natural gas resources through permitting delays, regulatory uncertainty, and making it really difficult to build a pipeline? Isn't that sort of in tension with an all-of-the-above energy strategy?
That's right. It's not all of the above if we are not allowing permitting on federal lands. We could be getting immense amounts of tax revenue, royalty revenue from such permitting. We also need a vast new infrastructure of pipelines, not just Keystone XL, because a lot of the oil and natural gas that is being produced in the Bakken region has lower prices because we just cannot get it out. Lower prices for that oil means less tax revenue for North Dakota and other states. So the oil that is trapped and that can't get out is selling at a discount to Brent crude. That means less tax revenue for the states where it is taking place. And the State Department has just come out with a report saying how if oil is transported by rail rather than pipeline, it will be more fatalities and more injuries. So I think it's clear that we need to have a bigger, all of the above should mean more pipelines. When we talk about all of the above, we should also be careful not to impose on ordinary Americans high utility costs caused by the high price of solar and wind and force them to buy it, because it costs twice the amount to produce electricity through wind and solar as it does through natural gas and coal.
So part of your concept of all of the above would mean everybody competes on a relatively level playing field. without
Exactly,
interference.
yes. And there are many people concerned about inequality. And the bottom fifth of the income distribution, people in that group spend about 25% of their income on energy. That's gasoline and electricity. And we need to be mindful of their welfare and not force them to buy more expensive fuels.
So this hurts the poor more
Exactly.
than anyone else.
Yes, because the top quintile spend 4% of their income on energy on average, as opposed to 25. So it's very unequal, requiring them to buy electricity produced by wind and solar.
Sounds very regressive.
Exactly.
I see my time's expired. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.